And like sometimes it's just like pure like ecstatic jubilation and fun and like wild freedom and being completely carefree. And sometimes those things completely intertwine together, which I find is like maybe more of the common theme, is that those concepts are really like always two sides of the same coin. Like you can't have one without the other, and so they kind of tend to match up.
Rob Ruckus,
Nick Collins,
Kate Clover,
Keith Semple,
Isaiah Mitchell,
Billy Harvey,
Tim Howard. Check it out, Almost Famous Magazine.
Hey everyone, welcome back to The Hang right here on Almost Famous Magazine. And of course, I'm your host, Scott Saldinger, and as you can tell, my voice is shit, but we're gonna make it through today. Thank you for joining us. The Hang is where we get to know musicians from around the world, learning their stories well beyond just their music. You get to know them, and that's super important, as just getting to know them, getting to know us. We're fucking hanging out. If you're new to the channel, please, you've been to YouTube enough. Hit the like button, thumbs up, subscribe, share this with your friend. And if you're returning, why the hell haven't you shared it with your friends before? I don't know. Come on, stop slacking off. But if you're one of those people who really enjoys taking your podcast on the go with you, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, I can barely pronounce it, iHeartRadio, and more. As part of our Dollfest 2026 coverage, I am thrilled because this whole band is a group of amazing people. Damage Party, they are raw. They're a high-energy punk rock crew tearing it up out of Oakland, California. Maybe if I don't know, I'm going to have some drinks tonight. Maybe we'll talk about my time in Central Valley living. I don't know. With a sound as loud and unfiltered as the East Bay scene that raised them. Featuring Charlie on vocals, I see her over there, Sebastian shredding on guitar, Bobby on bass, Patrick smashing the drums. Damage Party is built a reputation on aggressive riffs, and fierce live shows that keeps crowd moving, and chaos is guaranteed. I have a feeling we're going to name this episode Chaos. Hang with us as we dig into their DIY roots, their latest recordings, and what drives a relentless punk ethos straight from the heart of the Bay. Sebastian, Patrick, Charlie, Bobby, welcome to The Hang.
Thank you so much,
Scott.
You're making us sound pretty badass already, Scott.
Thanks for having us.
Risks and aggressive risks.
I think so. Look, we're going to take some risks tonight because I honestly have this. Oh, it's killing me. I sound like a frog who ate a bunch of nails and some sandpaper, which is really not healthy.
We all had that last week.
I'm thrilled to talk about Dollfest with you all, but first, I want to get everybody who's watching us acquainted with you. So let's quickly go around the room. I'll start with Charlie. How did your relationship with music begin? And did music find you, or did you find music? And how did that spark, that moment, get us to where we are today? Charlie, you go first.
Oh man, I mean, it's such like a mutual thing, you know. Like I grew up with music. My dad was a rocker. He was always in bands growing up. He played like rock and roll and country, outlaw country music. And like, I think what's funny is that I stayed with music because every kid wants to rebel from like what their parent is doing, and something about, but something about that stuck with me, you know. Like I've been playing music and in bands since I was 14. And even before that, I was always like the kid with like singing in their bedroom with a hairbrush. Like, yeah, I don't know, but it's always been like my first outlet and my first relief, you know, like my first drug before I found drugs. And like, yeah.
So let me ask you a quick follow-up on that is your dad was in outlaw country and now you're doing punk. Like, how did you find the genre that best suited you?
I mean, I think they're so similar. I think a lot of genres kind of span what rock and roll really encompasses. You know, but like I found punk like through hitchhiking, you know, like the town where I grew up was so small, like one stoplight town, like there wasn't a punk scene. We had a hardcore scene, you know, so I was always like going to shows, only girl in the pit, you know, really into hardcore. And then started hitchhiking out of my really small town to go to the next town over because they had punk shows there, and house shows. And started playing in punk bands, and like that's where I like found like the genre that I was like, oh shit, like this is it.
Yeah, it spoke to you. Cool. Bobby, how about you? What's your relationship with music? How did it start, and how did you end up with these individuals today?
Good question. I hail from Indiana, and I kind of grew up like I didn't have a musical family, so to say, but like my mom played piano, and there was always a guitar in the house. And my grandfather's probably my biggest influence. He did a lot of bluegrass and minstrel type stuff up until he was passed away a couple years ago, like 95. Like he was still playing. And but I remember when I was around 10, I used to take my dad's acoustic guitar and I would take headphones and slam them inside of there and then connect that to the stereo, the mic input, and just like destroy the speakers and shit. But
I've never heard that. That's amazing.
Wow, but what an inappropriate use for that type of amp.
Right? No.
But now I'm sure you can buy a modulator for that now and just put it on a laptop.
Right. But I mean, this was back in the early 80s and shit. So we didn't have all that stuff then. But I joined the Navy, came out here, and I got into like the whole punk rock crowd after I went AWOL. And then that's all fixed now. But anyhow,
are you sure?
Good, because I don't want anybody showing up during this episode arresting you. I think I'm negative for the entire band.
ICE is looking for him.
No, right, probably. But anyhow, yeah, I found some cool ass people in Virginia, and I came back out here when I was AWOL, and I got into the whole scene, punk rock scene here. And my first band, I was playing bass back in like 94, 95. Didn't know what I was doing. And then I haven't touched the bass until last year when I started playing with these guys. But I've been in several bands playing guitar and keyboards.
What was it about punk that drew you to punk? What was it? What was it about the sound of the ethos? I mean, you've got all these different genres you could choose from. You went to punk. What was it about punk that said something to you?
To me, honestly, is not the music. I mean, well, it is the music, but it's the people. And just like, just being an individual and just being like, fuck it all, but still just getting out your angst or whatever, or just, being artistic, dressing weird, just being different is really what it was. I mean, honestly, I really don't like a whole lot of punk. But I've definitely...
Are they aware?
Are they aware?
That? Is the rest of the band
truth
aware?
comes out.
Yeah.
It's going to be great.
Well, I was having a hard time defining what is our sound. Are we punk? I think we're a little bit more evolved than that.
Is there going to be a band meeting after this with some decision making? I mean, I would hate for this to be, but we finally air this thing and Bobby's no longer with us.
Bobby's a closet.
We have a three-member band meeting coming up.
What I classify as punk is just being an individual and just being crazy with it and doing whatever you want. And don't give a fuck what anybody else thinks about it. You do what you want to do for yourself.
Yeah.
And
it's an attitude.
That's the best part.
Attitude, yeah, it's an attitude.
Bobby's got the attitude. Sebastian, how about you? What was your story how did you begin your relationship with music and end up here?
Yeah, I always loved music. I remember when I was really little, I had a tiny little shitty, I don't even know what it was, like a Fisher-Price record player, and I had a Eye of the Tiger 7-inch and a Quiet Riot, Come On Feel the Noise, and I just always loved, guitar riffs and rock-based music. And I remember as a kid in Southern California growing up listening to, stuff like The Cars and Queen and Joan Jett. Billy Idol would be on the radio, and I just always liked rock-based music. And I lived in San Diego when I was younger, but mostly I grew up in Santa Cruz and got into skateboarding, just like a lot of kids in California, and eventually got turned on to GBH, Black Flag, Minor Threat, and then that led, towards like the SoCal stuff. that I still love today: TSOL, Agent Orange, Adolescence, Social Distortion, all that. And then eventually the British stuff, The Clash, Buzzcocks, Undertones, and The Damned, Subhumans. And then just got into playing guitar and like hanging out with friends that were obsessed with music. And, we'd all work at pizza joints or, work as dishwashers in junior high. And, every little paycheck we got, we're living with our parents, but all the money I ever needed either went to paying someone in front of the Circle K to go buy us beer or go to the record store and, buy records, so I've been obsessed with buying records and vinyl and playing records and hanging out with friends that play music, and eventually got into playing guitar, since I was like 14, 15.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you this. I'm always fascinated because there are some very fortunate people who have perfect pitch, and then there are of us who don't. Like, did you have, when you picked up that guitar, did you viscerally know what you were doing, or you were like, okay, this is going to be a mission to figure this out? Like, did it come natural to you?
No, that's a good question. Actually, first band I was in high school. We were called AYM, Angry Young Men. And I think that came from a Channel 3 song. There's a line in it that says Angry Young Men. And I actually was the singer in the band, but I had shit for timing. I couldn't figure out where the one count was. I didn't know where to come in. I knew the difference between a verse and a chorus, but I didn't know when to come in. And I was all over the place. And actually, my buddy John Toomey, who ended up moving down to Laguna Beach, and he started the Stitches and put an ad on the OC Weekly and basically helped start the Stitches with Mike and the other Johnny. And, I basically realized I needed, and John Toomey, the drummer, he was the drummer in my punk band in high school. And I realized I needed to kind of like play a maraca or a fucking tambourine or something. Like I needed to like tap my foot or move my hands in order to keep the rhythm. And then I was like, well, why don't I fucking play guitar? And then I can at least drum along. And then I finally realized, oh, that's the one count. That's when you come in. That's where the chorus goes. That's where the verse starts again. And so it was out of necessity. In order to sing, I needed to learn to play guitar in order to sing timing wise.
It's awesome. Funny you mentioned that because I always wanted to play drums. Always wanted to play drums. And when I was in, I don't know, elementary school, we went for, you're locked in a room with the music teacher and they give you a test. And my rhythm wasn't what it is today. And I ended up in trumpet. And I'm like, but I always wanted to, but they're like, yeah, you just don't have the timing, right? And it takes a long time to figure that out. And I'm like, where the hell's the beat? Like, find me the beat. Because it feels like something, but I don't have the mechanical piece of it to have that clock going at the same time as what I feel. So I understand your journey totally. Patrick, how about you? What's your story?
So I grew up with music as well. I started at 14 as well. Excuse me. I started playing rock at 14, I should say. So my mother was a piano teacher, and she also was very involved with playing music at the church that she went to. And she would store a lot of the instruments at home. So instead of us having like throw pillows on the couch, you'd have like a French horn over there and a violin over there. And she made us learn our tabs on the piano every night after dinner. She was way into classical music. None of the rest of us kids were at all. So I think we all started to go different directions. My oldest brother, my second oldest brother, who was like the rock and roll brother, he was like the motorcycle riding, leather jacket guy that I stole pot out of his drawer a few times. His band would practice in our garage. He was probably 19 or 20. So that would have made me about 13. And that was a huge influence on me as well. And I was in elementary school at the time still. And I was playing clarinet in the band in elementary school. And I got first chair. And these two other girls got first chair playing flute. And the music teacher came to us and said, there's a piece that I want you guys to play for the Fairfield High School Battle of Bands. You know, we're in 6th grade, and he's putting us in this high school Battle of Bands. So we felt a lot of pressure. So we learned the piece, we rehearsed it every day, but there was still a lot of pressure to do well. So we figured we needed an audience to do it in front of. And then I don't know who came up with the idea, which one of the three of us, but we decided that we could make money at it as well. So we went busking door to door in a neighborhood that was way too far for us to be from home. And we made money, and we won the Battle of Bands. When our parents found out that we went busking door to door, we all got in a lot of trouble. It was pretty bad, but after I first heard punk, and I think it's very similar to what Bobby was saying, it was like all the weirdos at school were the super interesting ones, and they were the fun ones. And I heard this music, and it was really super aggressive. And where here in the East Bay, there's a radio station that's run out of a high school. It's off during the summer. It's off after 10 p.m. It's the high school equivalent of a college radio station. And it's the first place I heard the Smiths. It's the first place I heard Merciful Fate. It's the first place I heard Metallica, Slayer. All those bands came out of that. And I would go skating in the afternoon, hit record on the boombox, and come back and hear what was played during the day, and learned about all this stuff. And then I met some other friends at school, and we got a hold of Minor Threat, was a big one as well. When you're a 14-year-old kid, those life lessons that he sang about were really, really super important, and they made a really, really strong connection with me. But what we would do is there was like a 3-tier, what's the word I'm looking for? Like when you watch like a football game or a basketball game, like 3-tier bleachers. And we would put those in a triangle, and we would all scream Minor Threat lyrics while we made our own circle pit. And we'd come back from lunch muddy and bloody. And and so then at one point, one of the guys said, "Hey, I play bass." And I was just starting to learn drums, and he said, "Why don't you come over and we'll put this together?" And we played for a few years, and it was really super fun. I then, very similar to Sebastian, I moved to San Diego, played in a few bands there for a long time, did a lot of touring, and I moved back up to the East Bay and met up with these guys, and it's been fantastic. You know, we started off with Sebastian's been in a number of bands, and we started off playing a couple of those songs, and they had a few songs written they had recorded with a previous drummer. So we had a number of songs, and I think, at least for me, like, it's been a pretty rapid, we're writing songs that are really super individual now and sound pretty, I think, are pretty unique. And that takes a long time to find your footing normally. And it's happening pretty quickly with us because we all get along really well and actually enjoy hanging out with one another on a pretty regular basis, and that says a lot. And we all come from pretty different backgrounds musically, but it's working and it's super fun. And, because of my mom doing that, and I mean, her extended family was all musical as well, for sure, but it's always been part of my life. And as a teenager, being able to express that by hitting the fucking drums as hard as I possibly could. And I still get to do that now, all these years later. Like, it's really, really amazing. Yeah. And it's super fun. And, Dollfest is no exception. Like, that's going to be an amazing show. And, we're super looking forward to heading down to Mexico City. We're going to tour around it. I know that's all coming later, but I'm just thinking out loud right now. But that's where I come from musically. It's super great to still keep doing it. I don't think I'll ever stop. It's just part of the deal.
Now, we could probably do about 10 minutes on just telling what the audience, like, what a boombox is and how you used to use it. But I want to get to your point about the writing.
Okay.
Let's talk about how you all write together, because you specifically said you're bringing different things. You're all each bringing things, and this is it appears to me a writing collab. What are you each bringing, and how is that kind of, you've got a pot and you're throwing a little everything in, to make the soup or the stew or whatever, what are you all bringing that brings out the sound that you ultimately create? What are each of your contributions? Charlie, why don't you start?
I mean, you're right. I mean, it really is like stone soup. We're all like throwing something different in. If it's like, I mean, there's been times like, you know, like Bobby wrote a riff on bass and I was like, that, like, I can hear exactly like what I'm trying to say within that sound. Or like me and Sebastian will sit there and I'll be like, I don't know, it kind of sounds like da 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 da, and he'll be like that, and I'm like, no, it's more like da-na-na-na-na. And he's like this, and I'm like, yeah, exactly like that. Like he's so inside of my head in this thing. Like I feel like, you know, like we're like so tapped in when we're creating songs, and then, you know, and like Patrick adds so much, like, I mean, with the same thing where I'm like, I feel like it should be more like this, and then it's all like drummer language, like ba 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 doo boop. No, more like boop boop ba da ba, and then like really.
So when Charlie does that and goes, "I'll need you to
Drummer
go ta
language,
da
I
ta da
love it.
ta," I understand what she's saying because she says "pa da ta da ta,"
Boop, bap, boop, bap.
in like she said in a drummer language, and then I go, "Oh, okay, let's try that." Sorry to interrupt. I
funny,
just wanted to add
No,
on
it's
to
funny that Charlie mentions that because
Yeah,
so before recording this, you know, Charlie, I mean, it's amazing that you say, because I was just out with a buddy of mine who's a percussionist and a drummer, and we were talking about, you know, he took a class in college for theory, and he did horribly in it because he played by feel, right? He was a percussionist, a drummer,
Totally.
and we were talking about, you know, Phil Collins and the music of Genesis. None of those guys were classical musicians. None of them were
Nope.
trained in musicality. And they created their own language, so that when Phil Collins, I think, did his first album and he had the Phoenix horns in the studio, he had his own nomenclature, and he showed it to them, and they're like, "What the fuck are you talking about? We can't do this. We're horn players. This is like, what are these? You know, this." So it's interesting that you bring that up, because there is a language to it, but it becomes more universal as you kind of teach one another. I think
Right, totally. Yeah, and we do know what the fuck it is we're saying to one another, and it's happened within a few short months, and it's pretty incredible.
We have to learn each other's version of our own DIY music vocabulary. And
yep,
yeah, it's crazy.
Super fun, you know. The things that you've been bringing, Charlie, and the things that you've been telling me, it's been just like we're just laying them down, and it fits comfortably. Maybe we're lazy and just like the first thing fits, and that's it. Like,
Nah,
to the next one. No, I know it's not that, but I'm just.
That we're intuitive, so the first thing like clicks, you know, like the first thing fits in well. Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes a song will come together super quick. Either I'll have a riff or Bobby will have something, and then Charlie throws something together real quick. She's got a whole book of, you know, poetry that she writes. It might just be a couple scratch ideas. And sometimes it just comes together like in one night, and boom, it's done. And then we refine it and build the arrangement. And sometimes we'll have a riff and like a little idea that we sit on for a while, and then eventually something, you know, falls onto the tracks, and then we hit full steam ahead.
Well, obviously you guys know how to riff. Obviously,
yeah, like,
I'm sorry.
They're like immediately.
You know how to riff. Good job, everybody. So okay. So Charlie's doing the lyrics. Charlie, I'm always fascinated because, you know, writing lyrics is it's an observational thing, right? And some people are really good at observational life. Yeah. Some people look to others, look to different things. Where are you making those observations? Like, where are you finding that's bringing those lyrics to you, and what inspires you to write about things?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm trying to do something.
It's so much of my own personal experience, you know, like I am really just kind of like in my head or in my own little world, or just the way that I see the world is like so narrowed in. But it's across the board, you know, like I write about like everything from like suffering to pleasure. You know, I feel like it's like whatever I really need to get out of me, like, you know, like whatever is like just like bubbling up inside of me, which sometimes is like really dark, fucked up shit. And like sometimes it's just like pure like ecstatic jubilation and fun and like wild freedom and being completely carefree. And sometimes those things completely intertwine together, which I find is like maybe more of the common theme, is that those concepts are really like always two sides of the same coin. Like you can't have one without the other, and so they kind of tend to match up.
Is anyone else bringing any ideas or any lyrical ideas to the writing for the band?
I mean,
Or is it all?
I write as well, but not our new stuff. Like Charlie's such a great lyricist and such a great poet and wordsmith. Like I want her to have, you know, take the helm and run with it. But I mean, some of our older songs or some of like the covers we've done from other bands I've been in, I write a lot of the lyrics, but Charlie's incredible when it comes to putting it all together and having a concept.
What's really funny though is that there's been times where they've told me to write about something in particular, and I off the bat I was like, fuck you, don't tell me what to fucking do. And then like a couple months later I ended up writing exactly what they were asking me to write.
We need this to lean more towards kittens on this song. So I need you to get into like kitten mode. Yeah,
I'm having some male issues. Please write about those.
Yeah.
But like one of the things that I feel like is like a common theme, I feel like there's like a couple common themes about things that I tend to just write about automatically. And one of them is like a lot of my frustration with being, you know, like a feminine presenting person in this world that we live in. It is full of endless danger and bullshit. And, you know, there was like a time over the summer where I had had like two people attempt to assault me on the sidewalk in a similar way in like the same month, and just like a matter of weeks back to back. And I was just like, and like the last time I was like on my way to band practice, and I was just like, what the fuck? And so I get there and I'm telling them about it, and they're like, you should write a song about that. And I'm like, fuck you guys.
Sure enough,
too soon. It was too soon.
Song about that, and it's one of my favorite songs that we have now. Like, and it's so empowering, and I love singing it. And writing that song to me was so fueling, and like, but it's so funny.
Well, that's a great jumping off point for what my next question was, because I mean, those who are watching us and hanging with us, they may not be familiar with you all. And I'll give, usually I do like one or two, but I'm going to give you each one to choose. You have a catalog. And sometimes you write, you know, some bands, they just throw out a single. Some nowadays it's like, here, I'm going to do a new song every month, whatever. For each of you, we'll go around the horn, but like if your music was a meal and we had to give someone an appetizer to get them to eat the meal, right? Which songs in your catalog do you feel are the best appetizers, so that someone watching us today goes, okay, I'm going to listen to these 3 or 4 songs, and then I'm going to jump into the other stuff because I'm loving this, right? Like, what is that appetizer? So let's go around. Patrick, I'll start with you. If you could pick one song that really represents who you feel the band are in your sound, what is that song and why?
I think the song is called Sleep, and it's a really unique arrangement for us, and it has lots of loud and quiet, and it's smart, and it's simple enough to listen to and grab quickly, but there's details in it that make it special and unique to us, and I think that's mostly what we're going for as a band. It doesn't sound like most of our other songs, so it's not exactly an appetizer, but it definitely describes to me what we're trying to do as a whole.
Yeah, that's great.
Excellent. Bobby, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, Sleep is definitely one of our best compositions. It goes from soft, really sexy bass line in the beginning.
Indeed. You lead it off.
Must be the bass player.
And but it really does showcase all of our different sounds too, because it does get fast in the middle. We have a couple of new great songs. Well, we have all of our songs are great. Speed whore, like when I listen to this stuff, I want to drive like really fast on the freeway when I listen to our songs. Like, but Speed whore's got a lot of high energy, and but trying to think of what to take. Yeah, I would say Speed whore, Sleep.
Okay.
Speed whore is super fun to play too. Really, really fun to play.
Well, I'm gonna try to get to Dollfest, so maybe I'll get a chance to see. You got to put it. If I get out there, you got to put in the set list. Sebastian, what's your appetizer song for the band?
Probably Animal. It's one of our newer songs. There's a handful of songs that we haven't recorded yet. So the stuff we have on Bandcamp, you know, we've only been a band for 6 months. We haven't even gotten into like where the band came from and all that yet, but it'll come soon enough. But really, we've only been together for 6 months, and we recorded early on at Bart Thurber, House of Faith, who's an old school. He does 2-inch analog straight to tape, super quick, super affordable, and this like Hoarders, 4-bedroom flat that is just full of like music equipment and pianos and boxes and busted amps. And I don't think they've vacuumed that place probably in 25 years. Amazing studio, but so we're looking forward to recording a bunch of the new stuff we've been working on, and Animal is one of those. Charlie's lyrics are killer. It's a super fun bass line, super fun riff, catchy little kind of bouncy main driving riff to it, almost like Amel and the Sniffers, and then just kicks off into like a big loud kind of noisy chorus, and then back down to this tight little catchy riff. But really fun song, Animal.
It's danceable. It's very danceable. It's very jump aroundable, I feel.
Jump aroundable. I like that. All right, Charlie, since you've written most of these lyrics, right, whether you wanted to or not, apparently, what's the song that you feel is like the one that grabs people in, and then they're going to want to listen to the rest of what you guys have created together?
I think for me right now, it's one of the most recent ones that I've written, which is 187. Because for me, like, that encompasses so much of what this band means to me and like what I write about, which is, like my fucking absolute grotesque rage at the patriarchy, the way that I loathe the police state, my love of hypersexuality and celebrating that in my body, especially when it's objectified for that fucking reason. And that I kind of just want to like throw my head back and rock and roll. I want to fucking party. I want to have a good time in this fucking fucked up, wacky, wild world. It's also kind of like, it's a, what did you say? Very danceable, move aroundable.
Jump aroundable.
Yep. People are gonna pogo.
There you go.
Jump aroundable. So when you're, since you're a lyricist, and this, I could be wrong, but I think I'm right. When you're speaking to a lyricist, like when you speak to a drummer, you have to say things like jump aroundable. When you are a drummer and you don't have the correct words to speak.
Not a wordsmith.
Yeah, when you're not a wordsmith.
Pogoable.
Jump aroundable is the word.
Have you sent jump aroundable to the Urban Dictionary yet?
Tonight's the first. I should trademark it now.
This is a hang first. Jump aroundable. Patrick's going to send it to the Urban Dictionary for sure. So, no, it's interesting because Sebastian must have had my notes. But I do want to know, because you haven't been together very long, and yet I'm feeling this connective tissue, right? Like y'all have gelled really amazing. How did this all come together? How did you find one another and build something that you all seem very comfortable in creating together with?
I think Sebastian should take this first.
Well,
Sebastian got us together.
So Charlie and I met. She's a bartender at a bar down the street from my house called The Lodge, that sadly is closing soon. By the time this comes out, it might be no longer, which is a big bummer. It's been around like 10 years. Super cool, sort of dive bar, but kind of a classy dive bar. Great drinks, great cocktails, great bartenders. Literally a block from my house. And I was looking for a new singer for another project that I'm in called The Vaccines, with X's, VAXXINES. And we wanted Charlie to audition. Timing wise, and the rest of the band members of that band, we auditioned a few singers and ended up going with a friend of ours who had already played, like, to fill in for shows. And so Charlie and I just became friends, and but we talked about, maybe eventually putting a project together. And then the drummer for that band, Mark Lee, he goes way back. He's East Bay, royalty. He goes back to Christ, and he was in Strychnine, and he and I were in a Dead Boys tribute called the Undead Boys for about 8 years with Jake Out, who ended up actually joining up and being in the real Dead Boys almost the same amount of time, and did an amazing job. And Markley and I were sitting around, and Markley and I, the drummer, the first drummer that Patrick mentioned, for Damage Party, he and I were in like 8 bands over 20 years. So he was like my brother. And just, every time a band would split up or not really make it, or we kind of do some traction, play 1 or 2 shows, and then, things would fall apart, start another band. He and I were sitting around, once we got our new singer with the Vaccines, and we used to practice twice a week. And he and I always did like Tuesday and Thursday. That was, our time to sit around, drink beers, and write music. And, he was one of my music brothers. And he moved to Texas. He's still a dear friend of ours. But we were sitting around, we're like, well, fuck it. Let's write another band. Let's put together another project. And so we got a hold of Bobby, and we're like, oh, we need, either keyboards or bass. And then I was talking to Charlie about it, and Patrick had actually auditioned with the Vaccines. And I mean, he's a phenomenal drummer, and the Vaccines kind of just morphed into its own thing and still continues now. And, we're selective about shows, and, they've had a really good run, and, we'll still continue to play here and there. But really, I told Patrick, I was like, well, I'm thinking about starting another side project. Markley's moving to Texas soon, and Charlie's a phenomenal singer, and we're thinking about putting something together. And so the 4 of us came together, and we started doing that Tuesday with Markley, and Damage Party started. And we really just, I don't know, we had maybe 1 or 2 songs, and we just played a bunch of covers. We did the Buzzcocks and X-Ray Specs and TSOL and Strychnine by the Sonics, and it was just a super fun project just for fun. And we played Markley's going away party when he moved to Texas. And then I told Patrick, okay, you're up, jump on the throne, let's go. And he was ready, and he's a killer drummer, and he just moved back up here from San Diego after what was it, Patrick, 15, 20 years in San Diego?
24 years.
24 years. He was in Vina Cava and a million other bands. He'll tell you about that here in a minute. But so it's kind of just, out of timing and fortunate, path, and, our focus. And it was just time for a new start and something fresh. And, we just all like, that's why we all gelled together. We've all known each other through different paths, and we have different connections. Patrick and I have a lot of mutual friends from San Diego. Charlie and I also have mutual friends. Robbie and I have known each other for 20 something years.
Yeah, 20
His
plus.
bands and my bands over the years have all played together. He's helped us record. He helped with The Pathogens, which had Cinder from Tilt and Jesse Luscious from Blatz and Grups in it, which then morphed into the Vaccines during the pandemic. Bobby's always been there as a big advocate and a big supporter. and he's great with recording and Ableton and Pro Tools and all that shit. So just kind of eventually, like, we all just came together, and here we are, and we're having a blast with it.
Well, 20 years. I mean, did you help Bobby go AWOL?
No, that was before.
That was 40 years
A
ago.
little after.
Yeah, that was 40 years ago.
That was the 80s.
That was early 90s.
Excuse me, early 90s.
All right. So we got Bobby's story, Sebastian. Patrick, I think it's your turn. I think what's your musical story? Or no, we got your musical story. I'm sorry.
That's a musical story. That's okay.
Yeah, we were going with the band.
So you ended up in the band.
So I ended up in the band because I was playing in another band here in Oakland that I had just left. And I met a girl named Angel, and she and I had a bunch of mutual friends. She's a woman that she does merch at every single show you've ever been to. She travels and sees bands. She seems to seemingly know every musician in the East Bay. And I said, hey, I just left the band I'm in, and I'm definitely ready to start something. So knowing that you know a lot of people, could you please keep me in mind if you hear someone that needs a drummer? And she said, yeah, no problem. And so the next day she calls me and says, do you know Sebastian Stewart? And I said, yeah, I do. And then she said, he needs a drummer for one of two projects. Maybe you should get together and see what you guys can figure out. So it came together very quickly. Turns out that Angel's Sebastian's roommate. So that's how she had that information so quickly. But it literally happened within like 24 hours. And it was pretty nice.
Did you pay her a finder's fee?
I will. So we can cut parts of the story out, right? So we're not going to suggest about paying what I probably what she probably rightfully earned.
I should be paying her the finder's fee.
Yeah,
Right.
We'll go splitsies on that.
So you've been together like 6 months now. How did you end
With
up
Pat.
involved in? I'm sorry.
Oh, with Patrick, it's been 6 months. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So as a band, it's been a little longer.
Not much though.
Yeah, we
only played one show really with Markley.
Yeah, we played one show before. We kind of got together beginning of the year, occasionally.
We didn't have a name yet though.
Yeah, we didn't have a name until we had to have one.
Okay. So we were talking before we started, when we were getting everything set up. We were talking about this band that, they just threw out a name because they needed one for a label. How did y'all come up with the name? Where'd that come from?
Charlie.
I think
Charlie.
I don't know. Do you remember Charlie?
Party. Where did it come from?
We had several names, but nothing was sticking.
Yeah.
We wanted to be
I just had like a list of things that I had come up with that I liked, or that we had come up with collectively, or like whatever. And every time somebody had an idea, I would put it on the list, and then we would just like wrestle about it.
It took a while.
Can I say my favorite one though? Was Charlie and the Wet Brains.
Oh yeah, that's what we were pushing for, is Charlie and the Wet Brains. But then she was like, no, I don't want to fucking.
No.
I don't want my, let's make something more fun.
So, considering that right now I have Jello brain, I feel like my brain's a Jello mold with this congestion and everything. I can work with the Wet Brains too. I mean, Charlie, if you feel the need to change the name of the band, I think you got something there.
Yeah.
I think that's Scott's way of asking you for a side project, Charlie.
Yeah, Scott will be our manager for the Wet Brains.
But like one big thing is like, I don't want my name as the name of the band. Like, that's weird. What the fuck? Like, maybe for somebody else, but not for me. I don't know, because I'm not the only one.
Are you a fugitive from justice? I mean, are you trying to stay off the grid?
I mean, thing that I think is really important. What's that?
Are you trying to stay off the grid? Are you a fugitive from justice or something? I mean, is there a warrant out for you? What's going on there?
Charlie may or may not be my real name, and I will answer no further questions about my fugitive identity.
Smart.
However,
do we need your attorney involved in this call? I mean, do we need your attorney involved? Call up your attorney, and there's your attorney in the band. Is there somebody who's a day job that I'm not?
No.
I would find this very amusing, honestly.
We have a severe distrust of anyone involved in the legal realm, including attorneys.
But so I
there
think
you
like
go.
the other thing about, like that as a band name is that your words are spells. You are creating and manifesting things with everything.
Yeah.
And like Charlie and the Wet Brains to me sounds like I'm going to be Wendy in the Lost Boys taking care of a bunch of fucking like drunks, and I am not
Oh.
to be an adult.
Well, you will
daycare.
be.
I'm already a
Oh.
bartender. I already work at adult daycare. I don't want to do that twice. And like, like Damage Party, it to me is so, it means so many different things,
I
Like,
mean,
it
it's
is
right up
that
there with
kind of,
cleanup on
like,
aisle 3.
super
What was the other one, Bobby?
cockbite.
Cockbite. That's right.
Cockbite.
Cockbite is almost. Cockbite was
I
almost
really
the
wanted
song
the band to
or
be
the
called
band name.
Cockbite. I thought that was
Oh.
amazing. I like Damage Party.
I'm glad that you guys chose
I would
Damage
totally go
Party.
see a cockbite.
Cockbite.
I would go to see a cock because look, I live in Texas. Your former drummer lives in Texas. I'm in Texas. It could easily be been mistaken for cockfight,
Right.
which
Yep.
they have that.
Yeah,
too.
that was the fun of it.
You never know. You could actually get accidental billing.
So can I say one more thing, Scott? So with Damage Party, that was in our top 3 for a while, and we were all kind of arguing about it, and we had a big whiteboard, and we're crossing them off and writing new ones down, and Damage Party was in there, and it kept coming up, and we had kept pushing for Charlie and the Wet Brains, and Charlie was like, "No, you guys are idiots," and like she said, she didn't want to babysit a bunch of drunks, and so we canceled that off, and Cockbite was in there, and there's maybe 1 or 2 others. That were on there. And so I have a long running list of, upcoming potential bands as well, or band names, and so does Charlie. But then I was like, well, Damage Party, it kind of reflects like Black Flag damage. Like if we're going to be called Damage Party, we got to fucking bring it. We have to be, like nihilistic and light shit on fire and shooting fireworks off the stage. And it ended up, not becoming that, but we're still, we do some damage, but it's still a super fun band, and Charlie's a performer.
All I'm
and
going to ask is this:
it fits.
All I'm going to ask
it
is
works.
This. Obviously we're recording this in advance. If for some reason between now and the time this airs it becomes Cockbite, just let me know so we can change the title. Okay?
No, we're Damage Party.
Just the grace of like sending him an email or smoke signal. Or
we're Damage Party.
We have too much merch invested.
We already made t-shirts.
We'll talk about
we
merch.
Change it now.
We'll talk about merch in a minute. How did you all get involved in Dollfest? Tell me that story. It's a great festival. It is a great everything about Dollfest I love. But how did you all end up on the Dollfest?
So back to what Patrick was just talking about. My friend Angel, who's my roommate, she is friends with our other friend Maria, who was living up in Portland at the time, and the band I mentioned earlier, the Vaccines, played Dollfest last year in Oakland, and we had a great time. It was a super fun show at the Cornerstone in Berkeley. It was a 2-day festival, Slaughterhouse, and tons of great bands, Testing the Details, and just a bunch of local bands and LA bands, and I don't know if we had any international bands, but it was just super fun. All female and femme fronted punk rock bands that played. It was just a great time, and then this year came around, and I was talking to Maria about getting Damage Party on it. And she's like, well, the bill's already full, but I'm putting together a Mexico City version, and I want Damage Party to play that. And I talked to Charlie, Patrick, and Bobby, and I was like, what do you guys think about going to Mexico City? And they're like, fuck yeah, let's go. And so that's how we got on it. Through Angel, who also introduced me to Patrick. So thank you, Angel.
Thank you, Angel.
I think that's great.
Angel.
Our friend Harley Evans, who is friends with Maria, who was like, you need to put Damage Party at Dollfest. And she's like, we already booked this one. And so same thing. We're like, yeah, like Harley Evans, whispering in Maria's ear, yeah.
Well, hell,
now
I have to
made it happen.
Not to figure out, can I make it to Mexico and to Oakland? Can I make both festivals? I'm not sure. I got a busy life, but I'm going to make it one of them, but damn it. I'm like, ooh, I'm really torn. I mean, if you look at the bands at both festivals, I mean, it's star-studded, right? I mean, you've got some amazing people that you all be playing with, whether it's in Mexico City and Oakland, and Maria.
Yeah.
They've done an incredible job of really, you know, I hesitate to call it the Punk Lilith Fair, but it's really, if you think about it, it's time is due, right? It's
Without
time
question.
is due, and women in punk need to be out front. Women in punk need to get the notoriety they deserve, because it's been for what, you know, I'll probably take shit and get blown up for saying this. It's been a white dude genre for way the fuck too long.
Fuck yeah.
And you know, when you look at Bad Cop, and you look at, was it Vile, and you look at just all the women who are really making a name for themselves and bringing out a different, I'll say it this way, flavor of rage, flavor of position in the world, and flavor of viewpoint,
different perspective.
It has been needed for too long, and now that we're getting it, I think it's absolutely
totally. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, and
Charlie, keep writing.
And thank you to Maria for putting this all on and having us involved. Cheers. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's great. One of the things I like to do, because, if only I was good at lying, but I'm not. I can't make this shit up. We've had some amazing things happen here on the Hang. We have an artist from Germany, guy who lived in San Francisco, who was living in Germany, and this goes back to like episode number 3 or 4. Drove 4 hours through Germany to go to his acoustic album release because he saw him on this podcast. So we know shit happens, right?
Nice.
So, given that people make choices and decisions, I'm about the possible. And we all live in a world where, although we go out and do our shit, there's always that something hanging over here. We're like, if I could only do this. So I want to go around the room and I want to learn from each of you. If you had the chance to get in a studio or be creative with one other person, a musician, a producer, whatever, for one day, who would it be? And why is it that person to you? Why is that your top of the list? And whoever's watching, as you know, if you're aware of these people, if you got them on speed dial, make the damn call. Let's make some dreams come true. So, Bobby, if you could be in a studio for one day, who would you be?
Oh my gosh, I wanted to be the last person to say something. That's a really tough question.
That's why I asked you first.
I'm gonna go with easy one. How about Amon and the Sniffers? They seem like an awesome, fun band to like. They look like they're having a great time. I love their energy. I mean, there's a million people, but most of them, like you said, are already dead. So that can't happen.
Well, it makes it a little more challenging. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, for sure. I get it. The like producers, is Rick Rubin still alive? He's still alive, right?
He's around.
Yeah, indeed.
He's around. Well, and you're not the first person to mention Amon Sniffers. I mean, there have been a bunch of bands that have brought them up. So hopefully, you know, things bubble up and people watch. If you know anyone in Amon Sniffers, or I don't know, maybe you should reach out to the Implosion in Vegas because they're big fans, and I know they've met them. I mean, you never know what could happen.
I've been fortunate to see them. I got to see them twice, and both shows were amazing.
They leave it on the stage, and in this day and age of music, I mean, if you walk off stage and you're not like sweating and you don't look as though the blood's drained out of your body, I want my money back. Right? I want you to put a fucking show on, right?
Sure.
And that's a band that does that for sure.
Totally.
For sure. Sebastian, how about you?
I would have to say, just for timing's sake, Paul Simonon, the bass player for The Clash. And I'm actually doing a quick little side project with some friends from Dublin, Ireland, and the drummer's French, the drummer from the Outcasts. And they've asked me to jump in and do this little quick tour in Canada where it's a Clash studio, and I have to learn 90 minutes Clash material on bass, and I have a couple questions for Paul. So that would be
all right.
That would be my wish.
I happen to know another guitarist in Ireland. Maybe he's watching. Maybe we can.
Well, Paul lives in London, but yeah. Cheers.
As I'm coughing and I'm trying to mute myself because it's horrible. Charlie, who would it be for you?
Oh, I have so many answers, but I'll speed through them because I just have like immediately I'm like, God. Like our first show that we ever played, we played with No Bro and Bad Waitress, and they are the sickest, sweetest people, and their music is so fun, and it also kind of pushes what you consider punk rock to be. I think like collaborating with them musically would just be like the best time, and I feel like it would create a sound that is so strange and like sick. I low-key feel like we're all gonna say Amel and the Sniffers, obviously. I feel like they would just be like so fun to be around. Like Lambrini Girls, also like they write about things that I really I think is really pushing like, you know, like what people are like singing about in this genre where we've always been talking about oppression. And then like on another musical level, like would love to fucking like see what it sounded like to write with Gogol Bordello. They also like punk,
Charlie,
punk
amazing.
is, like what you expect punk to be.
Charlie,
they're coming soon.
I'm going to be honest with you. First of all, I may know how to reach No Bro, but I'm Gogol Bordello is coming to Dallas, and I'm working on photographing them because I photographed them at Punk Rock Bowling. So I'll see what I can do for you to make it come true. I will give that to you. I will see what I can do.
So I actually I got to play the same music festival as Gogol Bordello last year called Muddy Roots in Tennessee, which is a sick ass DIY, no security guards, nobody's fucking running the shit, no cop ass, punk rock, metal, bluegrass festival, and I got to play the same stage as Gogol Bordello, and that was like
nice.
What the fuck?
Oh yeah,
I've loved them since I was like itty bitty.
They're good,
and their music is just like it's so fucking fun. It's outrageously fun.
So fun. I never knew that, Charlie. That's super, super awesome.
I want to know, like, I don't know what they're on, but God damn it, where they plug themselves into to get that energy for every show night after night blows me away because I'm like, I don't like they run a marathon every show. I saw them at Punk Rock Bowling and I couldn't move fast enough to photograph them because they're everywhere on the stage. It's amazing.
Another band like that right now, I think, yeah, a female fronted band like that right now, or all female band actually right now, that is super high energy every single show that we were fortunate enough to play with recently is the Darts. And the Darts are super awesome people. They're crazy talented musicians. The songs are all jump aroundable, all of them. Super high energy. Just they don't stop. They tour constantly, and it's amazing.
Yeah, no, for sure. So Patrick, if you could get in the studio with one day and be creative with somebody, musician or producer, who would it be and why? Who's your choice?
And you said someone that's alive.
It helps. It really helps. I'm good at a lot of stuff, and I live in a city where we're about to start. Like, there's a company here in Dallas that's going to start cloning actual prehistoric animals. We could do a whole discussion on that somewhere else. But Prince is just not available. Johnny Cash.
I'm sorry. Because the first person that comes to mind is Steve Albini, but of course that's impossible. So two of the things that he recorded that are two of my favorite living musicians is Frank Black and David Yao. And Jesus Lizard has been one of my favorite bands forever. It was so cool that they did this last tour recently. He's one of the most interesting singers that I've ever heard. And I would love to collaborate, not just get in his brain, but to make something with him. Having such a unique voice and such a unique perspective and such a unique way of bringing it all together And then Jesus Lizard's Choice was such simple, open music. It's really exciting to me what those guys do. And so I think the winner on that one would be David. Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, as everyone knows who listens to us, and those of us who've been hanging with us for an hour already, if you can believe it. I mean, time moves fast. I know. We've been at this an hour. We here at The Hang believe that you must be supporting your artists. You can't just walk into an art gallery, take a painting off the wall, and leave. Art is not free, okay? You must support artists. All of these individuals have other gigs. They do things to support themselves, keep a roof over their head, but they're passionate about making music for you. And that takes money. And it's a messed up business these days. So that being said, you're going to have links below where you can purchase their music. You can purchase their merch. Go see them at a show. Go buy a ticket to Doll Fest. Go see them. Okay. They're going to put a little tour around Doll Fest down in Mexico. Support your band, support your artist. With that said, one of the loveliest things about music, because, we may not be able to sit here and have a discussion about sports, hunting, fishing, car racing, whatever, but music unites us. And all of us who love music are always looking for new and interesting things to listen to. So I want to go around the horn one more time before we wrap up. And when you're not making your own music, when you're not focused on, I'm in the punk genre and I do this, but you're at the gym, you're out taking a walk, you're making dinner, you're enjoying your life. What's one artist that you've been listening to that if we were just sitting here and we are having cocktails and you're like, Scott, I've been listening to this person or this band, they fucking rock, and you got to know about them. You got to start listening to them. Who would they be and why? And I'm not going to pick on Bobby first.
I'm ready for this one.
Well, if you're ready, are you ready, Bobby? Are you ready? Okay, you go first. All right, Bobby.
I'm already wearing the shirt.
Can't. Great band.
Can't. They're super fucking rad. They're kind of a newish band. They're out of like Martinez and Concord. And they're just super fucking awesome.
What does it for you about them?
It's just the sound. The energy and the sound. I'm really terrible at wordsmithing, but they could be jumpy around. Is that the right one?
Jump around.
They are, and plus they're like.
But wait, I have two though. Can I have two?
You know what, Bobby? Yes, you can have two. So
the best band that is not recognized right now is Schlong, SCHLON, and they're the whole reason, like probably for the punk rock goofy scene. They have the Tumors album that they did for Fleetwood Mac. They did Punk Side Story, which was West Side Story.
They're not still around though, are they?
They will play if we get them together.
Yeah, no, they're amazing.
If someone's still, are they? If they ever go to a name change, is the name change to Dick?
No, there will always be Schlong forever.
And for a quick little tie-in, Bobby, who was on the cover of the Rumors tribute album that they called Tumors?
Our first drummer, Mark.
That's right.
In a very, very, very sexy.
Dressed in drag.
Nice.
You got to check it out. They're amazing.
Killer.
All right. Patrick, how about you?
I listen to a lot of old stuff, but what I've been listening to lately is a band that's on Alternative Tentacles Records. They're from San Diego and Tijuana. Almost all Spanish. They're called DFMK. D is in dog, F is in Frank, M is in Murray, K is in K. And super high energy, really, really great live show. Their bass player and I played in a band when I lived in San Diego last. That was almost all Spanish. But they're killing it. The songs are great. The production is great. It's not overdone. And seeing them live is just amazing. Super high energy, great stuff. Definitely worth a listen for sure.
Cool. Sebastian?
Tons of stuff. I love hearing new bands for the first time. But one of my favorite this year by far is Before Dawn, who are some friends of ours, and I knew some of their earlier bands.
Wait. Before
Yeah.
Dawn? No shit. So you know Dave.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
The guys from Clip 45
right.
and, the bass player from
Any of you
Templars.
at Punk Rock Bowling? Were you any of you at Punk Rock Bowling?
Not this year, no.
No.
Have you heard the story of Spider-Man?
No.
No.
What's that? Tell us.
What is this?
The story.
Oh my God. So we had both Before Dawn and Clit 45 on, and they're telling this story. The Clit 45 guys are like, yeah, they're talking about Peter Parker this and Peter Parker that. And I'm like, is that a guy in the band? Is that someone on the road with them? Who the hell is this? And finally, like, no, we had a show where somebody at a merch table had a Spider-Man piñata. And at some point they threw it on the stage. Well, we covered Punk Rock Bowling. We went out there this year, and my first day there, I'm like, I have to find a piñata store. So I find a piñata. I can't make this shit up. I'll send you photos. I find a piñata of Spider-Man. Fill it to the top of his goddamn brains with candy. I give it to the band before the show. Not only does it become the most talked about experience of Punk Rock Bowling, like the next day I'm like, hey, what's your highlight bit? I was interviewing people like, fucking Spider-Man lost his life.
Torn apart like a dog.
Torn apart. Oh my God, there were pieces there. Like at that show, it was like the mosh pit was like just like a human like Vegemix. It was crazy. Spider-Man had arms and legs everywhere. I'm sitting 6 months later, I'm sitting in a bar in Arlington, Texas, grousing with a friend over the fact that there won't be a Punk Rock Bowling next year. And this dude shows up and he's sitting there and he goes, I'm so upset about Punk Rock Bowling. Goddamn Spider-Man lost his life.
I'll have to ask him about that when I see him.
Oh, you asked him about Spider-Man.
There's got to be video of that. That sounds amazing.
Drop me your phone number. I've got video.
They're fucking great though. Before Dawn, I really dig what they're doing. Another local band that's kind of similar in that dark wave, kind of, goth punk, TSOL, Damn, Susie and the Banshees kind of vein, is some local friends of ours, Sympathy Flowers. They're really good too. But,
they're really, really good.
But Before Dawn, I love what they're doing. So hats off to them.
Yeah, they opened up. Well, they were on the bill for a club show with Witch's Ride.
Nice.
And I had them on the. Go back, you can see. Like I've had them on the podcast, and Witch's Ride was amazing.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, totally down with that. All right, Charlie, I'm saving the best for last. You got it. You've got around third and come in for the home run. Who are a couple that you're listening to that you really love right now?
Like a big earworm for me right now is like our friends from LA, Neon Cross, who just have these they're great. Like they get stuck in my head in this way where you feel like it's like a classic song. I'm like I feel like I've been listening to this forever. They have a very kind of 80s sound. It's sick. And then another one that I've been going back to for years, it's such a constant for me, is Austin Lunn, who does Panopticon, and it's just him doing this incredible solo black metal project that incorporates a lot of folk and bluegrass and poetry and storytelling, and is just, it completely pushes what you were told this genre is. He's creating something that is so ethereal and beautiful and potent and profound. He put out an EP recently that is about what's happening right now in our country with ICE. It's called The Poppies Bloom for No King, and 75% of the proceeds from that album are all going to immigration defense.
Oh my God, I love that.
It really speaks to how we write about things that we care about, but it's also like everything that we do in all of our actions, and how can we make sure that like every breath we're taking is taking care of our community and really like matching up to our words, you know, for like singing about this and writing about this. And especially in the punk scene or in the metal scene, when we say that we care about this, like what else are we doing to make sure that like our care is expanding past just saying that we care?
Fuck yeah.
Charlie, I got goosebumps and you're getting me verklempt. I think to support that, you guys send me a link so I can put it in the show notes below. Okay, I think that's a great thing to support. You know, I've been listening so much this year. Punk Rock Bowling was amazing. I'm a big like 80s ska punk fan, and like the year before Madness closed out the festival,
Nice.
but this year I found the Interrupters, and holy
Yeah,
shit.
they're fucking great.
Good.
Oh my God, I can't get
I love
enough.
the
Like
Interrupters.
literally, it's my workout playlist.
They're such great
My
songwriters.
workout playlist. Oh my God, they got the shit
Yeah.
down, and the thing that I love about what they're doing is when you weave a thread through like ska and punk, and you can connect these bands, right? Like if it no doubt owes a lot of it to Madness and the Specials, right? There's absolutely no question whatsoever. And then you get to the Interrupters and you think about, oh my God, the influence that Rancid had them, but then No Doubt, and then go back to Madness. It's finding that thread that binds us all musically. I love them to death. And another one, and I'm going to throw this out there because it's not punk, but I can't go a day without listening to it, because like he calls it his kitchen sink album. He threw everything out there. And when he performed it here in Dallas, there was probably a dozen people on stage. But Chris Holt, his album, Under the Milky Way, he crafted it in a way that it's a slow burn album. So you got to listen to it often. Chris Holt, yeah. He's in the Eagles. He's playing guitar in the Eagles. But he also, the way that it flows is like, you're like, oh my God, it's an album made to be listened to like an album. And that's such a rare art these days. You know,
Definitely.
I loved Fits in the Tantrums' first two albums were great. And then I don't know what happened, but now it's just like, let's create single. And their latest album to me is like, it's 12 or 13 songs that have no connected tissue whatsoever.
Oh.
But Chris's album is one where if you can listen to it, you're like, wow, it really just, you got to start at the beginning, you don't start in the middle, and you got to go to the end to get there.
Nice.
So those are two that, like, my big years have been amazing.
I got a question for you, Scott. Since you're in Texas and you tied in the ska, punk correlation, are you familiar with Pinata Protest? They're from Texas. And then Noogie, Nooggy. Two bands.
Am I familiar?
They're both great.
So Pinata Protest they played at Punk Rock Bowling. And I mean, I can only be technically in one place at one time. And I wasn't able to cover them while I was covering another show. So they played here in Dallas on the last night of their tour. Absolutely love them. Guys, if you're watching, because we're mentioning you now and we're going to put you in the show notes, we've got to get together and get on this.
Oh, yeah. Interview with them would be awesome.
Unbelievable. And I used to live in San Antonio, and I had no idea.
Yeah, Pinata Protest.
Oh, my God. And Noogie, absolutely.
Know Noogie? They're good friends. They stay at my house when they're in town. They're good kids. We played with them a bunch of times and in different other bands. No, not yet with Damage Party.
All right. Well, when we're done with this, I'm going to tell you something. You got to send a message for. But yeah, I mean, Texas is interesting. I've been here a long time now. I'm from New York originally. I also lived in the Central California, the Valley of California for a little while. It's a long 14 months. I'll never live there again. Whatever it is. But it's next to Clovis.
Clovis.
It's an interesting music here in Texas has gotten really interesting. I gotta tell you. There's one band. I'll finish with one band. If you've not heard this band, it's not punk. But one of the things that draws me to bands like yourself and other music is when you're willing not to do the same old, during the pandemic, there was this band, this lead singer's father, they grew up in Mexico. They do Norteña Tejano and live in Houston. And during the pandemic, do you know who I'm talking about, Charlie? Do you know who I'm talking about? They did an Adele cover.
I love the way
they blew up on TikTok, doing a Tejano cover of Adele singing it in English. The band's name is Easy Band, and they are unbelievable. They've been on the podcast. I've photographed them a couple of times, and they are amazing because what they've done is they took their own naturally known genre and they combined it with all these English language songs. And yes, they're technically covering other bands' songs, but in a way that it's so fresh. And you can go to their show and you see so many different makes and models of people, generations, and people just loving what they're doing. And I love them to death. They are amazing. So Easy Band. You should check them out.
Let's check it out. I mean, because we're actually right now talking about something somewhat similar to that, being that we're going to play in Mexico City and surrounding cities for the first time ever. That it would be really fun to do something like that. So that might be some inspiration for that. So that's awesome.
You should check them out and see what they do. And then maybe what you can do as a punk band, take some English language punk bands and do them in Norteña Mexican style.
Oh, yeah.
Give it a shot. Who knows? I want to see it if it happens.
Music is so fucking fun, dude. It's so fun.
Oh my God. Yeah.
We're trying to figure out a cover to do when we do because when we go to Dollfest, we already confirmed there's a show in Puerto Vallarta, and we're working with Flores y Fuego from Guadalajara to do a show with them as well in Guadalajara. So we're hoping to do about 4 or 5, maybe 6 shows in Mexico when we go to Dollfest for Mexico City.
Nice. Line that shit up. We'll put it in the notes.
Awesome.
Trust me. I want everybody to know about you all. We could probably go on for a couple more hours, but I'll be honest. I've been drinking, and if I go to the soon, this is gonna be the most embarrassing episode I've ever had. Sebastian, Patrick, Bobby, Charlie, I love you all. This has been amazing. I really appreciate you making time to check us out. Be on.
Thanks so much, Scott.
Yeah, man.
I'm excited for you for Dollfest. Everybody, check out their music. Go buy their stuff, and most importantly, right now, every single day, go love each other. Go be kind to one another. Do something nice for somebody. Make it about everybody else because we need each other.
Thank you, brother.
To get through this every single day.
Yeah.
So y'all take it easy, and we'll see you in an episode.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you, Scott.
Take care, man.
Thanks, Scott.
Damage party.